and a very warm welcome to this special. Now, most of us before this World Cup began wouldn't have thought this match today, that is scheduled today between Australia and England, would have been such an important game, given that these two teams looked so good coming into the tournament. They were seen as the favourites to top their group, but here we are with both these teams in a situation where they need to win this game to really keep their hopes of making it to the knockouts alive. It is the big game. It is Australia versus England, the host, the defending champions, taking on England. And the news from Melbourne is not very good. As we saw, the first game was washed out today, and there is rain expected through the day. Covers are on, toss has been delayed. But I am here with pleasure welcoming a very senior journalist, somebody who I've looked up to. Vijay Lokpalli joins me here in the studio. First of all, thank you so much, Vijay, for taking the time out.
Thank you very much.
To talk to us. This is big. Australia and England, when we saw the group, that's the first thing we said, you know what, it looks like these two teams are the favourites to top their group and make it to the semi-finals. But here we are, and both these teams haven't played the kind of cricket that we expected them to.
Absolutely, and it's a group of death. I mean, if you see the way the group matches have gone, but first I think they'll have to win this battle against the rain. If rain wins, then it's trouble for both the teams, definitely, and especially for England.
Okay, also joining us, former Indian cricketer, former selector Ashok Malhotra is here with me. Sir, what is going on with this rain? I mean, this is just worse timing. The good thing is that we at least got to watch India versus Pakistan, because that really was the best match of the tournament. And then we watched yesterday's game where Pakistan lost against Zimbabwe, which was a fantastic game. But this one, Australia and England, if this match doesn't happen, this actually makes things even more difficult for Australia, given that Australia have their run rate in the negative.
Yeah, but you know, first and foremost, I would say they should have organized this tournament at this time of the year in Australia. Australia is such a place, they know this kind of year that it rains. I would like to see a World Cup where the places are decided on rain. Most of the games being washed out, and we're looking at the sky most of the time. So I think it is a bit difficult for everybody. But when it comes to these matches, now they've already called the shots. But I think ICC made a mistake. But now England has to win it. But shorter the format, I think it's better it will be for England, because they have got
yeah. Ashok sir, you know what, I'm so sorry, there is some problem with the audio there, so I'm just going to get that fixed, but we'll come right back to you. Now, the update from Melbourne is that there's an inspection at 7:30 local time, which is an hour from now, and 9:46 local time is the latest when a game 5-over encounter, which is what I think they look to do, because they'd want to see this. But as Ashok sir was mentioning there, this is, how would you see this? I mean, whether playing spoil sport, this has been decided earlier. It's just that they have some, it just turns out to be one of those years where you're seeing this kind of wet October for Australia everywhere.
Well, see, yeah, I agree with you. 3 matches have been washed out, but it's not the first time. I mean, we have had many matches in previous World Cups where not a ball was bowled. I remember a very classic England-Australia match at Indore, where, rain played spoil sport, and they had to somehow, they worked up a miracle. But it speaks poorly on the management of those who work out on the schedules. It's very easy, of course, for us to now blame them. Nobody would have thought that it will rain, but then with technology available and there is so much of information you have, it is a pity that if this game is washed out, I mean, it will be very sad, because like an India-Pakistan match, England-Australia is a marquee game. Whether it's a test match, Ashes, you know the history, or ODI matches, or T20. So I wish the game is played for the sake of the World Cup and for the fans, because they want, even if it is a 5-over game, fine, at least there will be some action to watch on the field.
Okay, we seem to have fixed that audio issue with Ashok sir. Yes, we were talking about how this was something that was unexpected, though, Ashok sir, other than the fact that weather can play spoil sport today. We are expecting 5 overs a side encounter at least. But Australia, England, they find themselves already in this situation where they have to win this, and nobody could have predicted this. I mean, Australia are looking good. They actually have a good side, but both the games that they played, the one that they lost against New Zealand, which was it was a soul-crushing loss really because of the way New Zealand batted, and then even against Sri Lanka, if it wasn't for Marcus Stoinis, they were struggling.
They are, when Vijay said group of death, it is group of death, but we overlooked New Zealand, who always goes through the fire and always reach the same final. We talked about England, we talked about Australia, but nobody talked about New Zealand. That is why they calmly, coolly get into almost every semi-final during the ICC trophy. So that is what it is. And New Zealand is the top of the table. You can understand why they are top of the table, because they've beaten Australia, hands down. So it is difficult for them. You know, number one team is going to be New Zealand because they specializes in playing ICC tournament. And they are not a team of superstars. They are really cool, calm, composed, and a great youth. Their team is a superstar. That is the difference between New Zealand and the other side, especially Team India. Because Team India is a team of superstars. When India plays, we don't say whether India has won or not. How many runs Virat has scored, how many runs Rohit has scored, how many runs Surya Kumar has scored. We never talk about Team India. That is an undoing, whereas New Zealand quietly ease into the semi-final. And this is exactly what again happening, but it's a tough game for England and Australia. And whosoever loses this game, maybe struggling to make it to the semi-final.
Now, two things that stand out for me here. Number one, in this group, Zimbabwe at number 3. That is fantastic to watch, to see Pakistan at number 5 in this group. Nobody would have expected that. But what a win that was against Pakistan, sir. I'm sure you watched it, Ashok sir, because you watch every game. But how brilliant was that? I mean, the effort by the Zimbabwean bowling to be able to defend 130 like that. That's not a very experienced bowling lineup. And we know there are some big hitters in that Pakistani camp. This was a brilliant game.
See, Meha, the Pakistani hitters are used to Asian wickets, Pakistani wickets. They go through the line, whereas in Australia, ball is darting around. And then they've got a big, tall bowlers. Zimbabwe is not a Zimbabwe of old where they didn't have a quick bowler. They have got two very good fast bowlers, a right-hander and a left-hander. They're magnificent, to say the least. And not to forget Sikandar Raza, who is a mystery bowler, who always picks it, who hides his hand behind his back and delivers whatever kind of deliveries. And he is mesmerizing the batters all around the board. And all in all, their fielding, they were awesome. For me, that single saved by Captain O'Brien at the long on was the one which won them the game. It could, if it had gone for boundary, Pakistan would have won the game. So it is a difference of 1 run, and that is that 1 run saved is 1 run scored kind of a thing. And it was phenomenal to say the least. They played their hearts out. They were like men possessed, and they wanted to enjoy this World Cup. They wanted to probably, I would not count them out reaching the same final. They are a team which can upset a lot of the teams.
Okay. I also, the one that stood out for me was Chakabwa's run out. I mean, Dhoni would have been proud of that run out. That was brilliant to send Shan Masood back. But, the other thing being, I was discussing this with Ashok sir right after England lost to Ireland by Duckworth Lewis. And we said, how is it possible for a team like England? And then we later found out that their score sheet by Duckworth Lewis, the par score, all of that was displayed on the big screen. And yet England found themselves 5 runs behind. And we both was talking about it, and we said, this is shoddy from a team like England. I mean, and I think it was only in that last couple of overs where Moeen Ali hit some big shots, or they would have been way behind. How do you explain that?
I think it's poor on the part of the team management, because they have a whole team of analysts who go with the squad, They do all the analysis before the game, after the game, and during the game. And like you say, they should have been spot on. I mean, here it was a question of sending a message across, or even otherwise. You tell me, the batsmen who were there, they would use their common sense. I mean, what is their job in the middle? So they were found wanting. But I would squarely blame the men in the middle. Than of course, I mean the analysts will do their jobs. They have to keep the team abreast of what is happening. But the simple thing is, if they were playing to win, they should have played positively. And yes, I mean Ireland, I think that day they deserved, just like Zimbabwe. I mean Zimbabwe has Zimbabwe beat India also. I was at that game in 1999 in England. And that was a big shocker. Indian team took a couple of days to recover from that loss. And here also look at Pakistan. Their whole cricket is in disarray. It's such a situation where I don't know if they'll be able to play the natural game when they go out next, because there is such pressure to win now. They cannot afford to lose. So these are all, I think, the beautiful, what should I say, mysteries of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about playing a positive game, that's what you expect from England. But England batters, from the time they've come into this tournament, sir, Jos Buttler needs to score runs. And even if they are, their batting is struggling. Run a ball. David Malan playing that anchor role again, does not get the aggression at the top. Alex Hales, we've talked about him as well, Ashok sir, how he's been given this opportunity by England after having been overlooked, but he hasn't been able to capitalize. Their batting, in the most unexpected manner, are really struggling in this tournament.
Yes, Mia, because this is not for big hitters. This is not for flat track release. You know, there's something in the wicket, and thanks to these rains, there's a lot of moisture in the wicket, which helps the medium pacer to make the ball dart around. When ball darts around, then these guys are not comfortable. See who is getting runs? Virat Kohli, who hangs around, takes his time and accelerates. You know, who got runs for England? David Malan, who stays put. So not the go-getters, not the hitters. What happened to West Indies? You know, they struggled all the way. What is happening to Australia? The big hitters are struggling. Beat David Warner, beat Aaron Finch, beat Maxwell, except for a one knock from Stoinis. Nobody else beat Mitchell Marsh. They all are struggling because ball swings around, darts around. And same thing happened to Pakistan. The famous opening partnership of Rizwan and Babar Azam is all at sea against the moving ball. So that is what is happening, and plus the big grounds of Australia. So that it is not an easy thing. You have to hang around, you have to build an inning, and probably accelerate in last 5, 6, 7 overs. Somebody has to be given the role of a sheet anchor if you want to win a game, because 160, 170 on these wickets probably is going to be a winning total.
But it's not just the batting though, also bowling. We've talked about Pat Cummins as well, sir. He has struggled, he's been expensive. Even in the IPL we saw how expensive he was. But it seems like Australia want to continue with him. Then on top of that, now Matthew Wade's got COVID. Adam Zampa didn't play the last game. So a lot of things not going right for Australia as well.
And you're absolutely right, Mia. And as far as Cummins is concerned, I like him for the simple reason that he doesn't bowl the defensive line. I mean, Ashokipa would be able to enlighten us more, because he looks to take wickets. Right. There can be times when he can bowl a negative line and get away in T20 games where you need to bowl good 24 deliveries. But he is always looking to make a breakthrough and make the batsman hop around, and that's the kind of bowler he is. So it's good to see a bowler like that, just like Mohammad Shami, who doesn't bowl to a very restrictive line. He looks to take wickets. So I think that's what the bowler's job is. If you rattle the opposition at the top, take a few wickets, few means maybe a couple of wickets. So the team comes under pressure, it puts pressure on the middle order, and it goes down the line, and tailenders also struggle. So it is very, very important for Cummins. If he gets a breakthrough in the beginning, you mark my word, he will be a very different bowler even in this game.
He has been expensive in the death, and I think with that, a lot of people now suggesting that maybe they need to give some overs to Josh Hazlewood as well as Mitchell Starc in the death. But gentlemen, now that we are here and you guys have watched so much cricket, Let's then ask you something that I've been wanting to ask you from the beginning of this show, which is you watch so many matches, India versus Pakistan, the match at the MCG. Is that the best match that you guys have seen? Let me start with Ashok sir, and then I'll come to Vijay sir.
I think it was. It was India-Pakistan game. It's the biggest blockbuster in the international cricket.
Yeah.
And what transpired? You know, we snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. A great knock by Virat Kohli. That six he hit of Rogers is definitely the shot of the century, if I may say. I can never imagine, not me, most of the cricketers can never imagine how can somebody can go on the back foot and hit the ball straight over bowler's head for a massive six, and that too at MCG. I can understand a slog sweep, I can understand a cross-patted shot where you can generate the power. But what he did, he was like a man possessed. That was something beyond, I would say, mere mortals. It was something, the shot was made for gods, and he is a cricketing god when he's on song. I understand he went through a very, very rough time, but it has humbled him. Believe you me, he had probably become sometimes maybe a bit cocky, a bit arrogant, and that is when cricket hits you. And that is what happened to somebody like Virat Kohli. I will never forget that picture of his getting out in IPL in the second ball, and he was shaking his head and in disbelief. He didn't know what was happening to him. And that happens to the best of people. And that humbled him. And that rest of one month has done wonders for him. He went back on the drawing room, maybe spoke to his wife, spoke to his near and dear ones, and then now he's at peace with himself. The good thing about him is his mentality is right, because after being sacked as captain, he was not at peace with himself. He was very angry, very upset, and that is when it happens, then you are not at your best. Mentally, you are not at your best, and it was showing in his game.
Vijay sir?
Well, T20, yes, because this game, for the emotions, for the situation, and how it has brought back the focus on Virat Kohli. The team is in the background. Everyone is talking only about Kohli. But for me, there are quite a few matches I have covered. India-Pakistan. For me, the 2003 World Cup game at Centurion will stand out. And the one in Dhaka where Kanetkar hit those boundary. Ashok Ipan knows very well that match. And then, of course, some games which Ganguly won you in Toronto. And, of course, the India-Pakistan semi-final of the 2011 World Cup. So there are many, many games. But if I have to pick one game, India-Pakistan, it will always be the 1996 quarterfinal at Bangalore. There was such pressure,
the Venkatesh Prasad one.
Oh my God, that was some game. And if you look at the teams, you look at how the match progresses, it was one game you want to watch again and again, just as the last 8 balls of this T20 World Cup game.
And of course, we saw there was so much drama was also in that one, in that game.
The 96? Oh yes, 96. Wasim Akram opted out for whatever reason, but the game, it featured Javed Miandad, and which happened to be his last World Cup, and it was so ironic to watch him standing there, the best runner of between the wickets. He was standing there and praying maybe, you know, the third umpire would rule him not out, but he was run out in his last and final game of his career, such a cricketer. So there are so much. The Amir Sohail incident where Venkatesh Prasad, you know, he had to bring out that delivery from nowhere, a magical ball. And of course, Sohail also, I mean, what a stupid shot to play. And I think it had everything, Meha. You go back and watch the game ball to ball, you would love it, just as Sachin Tendulkar at Centurion. I mean, hitting Shoaib Akhtar and Wasim Akram. Oh God. I mean, those were matches I can never forget in some games at Sharjah also.
Sharjah, of course, the Javed Miandad, Chetan Sharma incident as well. But sir, why, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I get a sense that what happened to India after they lost to Pakistan in the last T20 World Cup is what happened to Pakistan after they lost to India in this World Cup. Shattered morale, especially because of how close that game got and how Virat Kohli ruled that match. And, you know, in the end, I feel like Pakistan gave it their all, and from there to recover has been difficult for them. Ashok sir, do you agree?
Yes, I do agree. But I don't know, I am convinced that the shake of hands has turned things around. You know, normally shake of hands is a cricket diplomacy which always helped India and Pakistan.
Huh.
But that shake of hand by Virat Kohli has ruined the chances of Pakistan because it's ruined the form of Babar Azam.
Yeah.
And Virat has got the form back. And once Babar goes out of the play, then we know they tend to struggle. They tend to struggle.
So no one's going to shake their hands with Virat Kohli
Yeah,
anymore.
I hope Virat doesn't shake hands with him again because he might get the form back and Virat might go out of form once again. So believe you me, I never believed in this. But the more I think about it, Neha, if you go back, have a look at that Asia Cup game, they shook hands. Since then, Babar has not put a run on the board. And Virat is going from strength to strength. So sometimes it happens. It happens. The moment he shook hands, I had this feeling this is something like this is going to happen. The good luck is coming this way.
Yeah.
And it has happened. Maybe you can call me a old hag or old something, but I really believe in it. And since Babar has gone out of form, Pakistan is half the side. They tend to struggle, and I will not put it across them to lose 1 or 2 games more. Because as you said, the morale is shattered. And as Vijay was saying, they will trying to build, they will trying to book a place in the next game. I think that they're worried that which part of the world they have to book a ticket for. You know, it will not be easy for them to go back to Pakistan.
Yeah, that's right, because I think with the way they lost to Zimbabwe, that would be soul-crushing. And we saw that in the way when, Shaheen Afridi was run out, when Shan Masood was stumped, and the way he was just sitting there wondering what could have been. So, but Virat Kohli, I know Ashok sir was talking about that 1-month break. You've seen him from the very beginning. You've seen the highest of his highs, the lowest of his lows. And a lot of people tend to say this, especially when he was going through this bad period where they said, oh, he should have done this and he should have done this. And I think this is what Virat Kohli has been. People, it always happens with greats. Everybody tries to make it seem like they know them, they know what they should do. But Virat Kohli is that 1-month break. How important was that? And where do you see him mentally? The reason why he is where he is now. Because to come out of that phase would have required tremendous amount of fortitude, I don't know, belief. He could have been really finished after that.
I think he had the backing of his family. That is very, very critical, which is not seen to the world. And he was also practicing. He was practicing very hard in Mumbai, I know for sure. And Sanjay Bangar was assisting him. And Vikram Rathore has been helping him out. And he has his own people to reach out, his coach Rajkumar Sharma. I mean, a little technical inputs, but essentially he's a father figure. So that is very, very critical. He needed this kind of support, and mentally he's very, very strong. Please don't believe if people tell you, yes, there were some periods of loneliness for him.
Absolutely.
Fair enough. I mean, he was struggling, criticism coming from all over, some good, some bad, but well-meaning. I mean, nobody wanted Virat to flop. They all wanted him to do well. And like he said that day, the only thing he has admitted, he has never said anything publicly about that period when so much was being said about him. All he wanted was those who had my number could have reached out to me. So that's what he was expecting. He probably wanted more people to talk to him, not maybe in public domain, to him personally. And there were, I know, let us not name them, there were a lot of people who did reach out to him once they realized that they are losing this fabulous cricketer who is once in a generation player. I mean, we have seen Mr. Gavaskar, Kapil Dev, Sachin Tendulkar, they're all great. I mean, you will never get a batsman like Virender Sehwag, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But Virat Kohli is exceptional.
So you think that because there was that kind of support that, and the kind of belief that he has and the strength that he has, mentally he's been very strong.
Yeah, he did speak about mental toughness.
Yeah,
he spoke about the importance of mental health in recent times. You look at him, I mean, you put yourself in Virat's place and understand the kind of pressure from from outside and from within, because he has set certain benchmarks for himself. So when he goes out to bat, he knows the whole world is watching him. The best of coaches are watching him. The best of bowlers are sitting in front of laptops trying to analyze his weak points, and from there he has come out. And how? By playing that one shot, which you will remember for all your life, and then the next ball he hits over square leg, fine leg, whatever, and he gets another 6. So he has come out firing, and we have seen it in the next game. He looked so composed and calm. There was a very assured feeling on his face. I mean, there were times in the IPL Meha where he was so worried. You could see it on his face, getting out to stupid deliveries, getting out to good deliveries. And also, please remember one thing, when you are bowling to Virat, you are bowling your best, because you know he's the best bowler. If you get his wicket, your morale goes up, the team's morale goes up. So he is, to world cricket, he has revived this World Cup. I mean, he has, the way he has charged up. So
absolutely, and he's revived himself in the way that you needed an innings like this for people to believe that he is back. You know, he could have scored, and he was scoring runs coming into this tournament. He's been scoring runs. So he looked like he was getting in form, but now suddenly everybody's like, oh my gosh, Virat Kohli is back, because that's what Virat Kohli does to you. This is what he's already...
ICC puts out the tweet saying King Kohli is back. So what more do you want? I mean, the administrators of the game want Virat to score, to shine, and he may have made the World Cup for India. From here, I don't think India will look back now.
The belief, you're absolutely right, which Rohit Sharma also said, Ashok sir, in the press conference after the match, where Rohit Sharma said that we now have the belief that we can win from anywhere. And I get the feeling that this was obviously done, you know, because of that win, but because of the situation that they were in. I mean, nobody would have given them that that chance. Nobody would have thought that okay, India are going to win from here. I mean, I think at one point Pakistan were 90% or 95% favourites to win that match. India had 5% chance. So from there to turning it around. But the other thing is also why I feel like this comeback is so important is because if you see all the other greats, I mean, we haven't seen, you see Sachin Tendulkar, you see Ricky Ponting, the lull or the period where they've struggled hasn't been this long, but for Virat Kohli it has been slightly longer. And you wonder that to recover from there, what is the kind of toughness that a player must have, especially if you're an Indian player, with the kind of pressure that you can feel. In a time when social media can be ruthless, they can be cruel, they'll troll you, they'll troll your family, they'll troll your daughter, you know. And that's why I'm saying that this is incredible. We can keep talking about him, but I'm saying that what he's done is incredible to come back from that period.
See the problem with the mental toughness. He's probably mentally the toughest guy, but his bad form, his slump in form, kept going on and on and on for 3 years. You know, even if, as Vijay said, he's raised the bar so high. Even if he scored a 50 or a 70, he was called a failure. You know, everybody is looking for his 71st 100. You know, that is what it was. But the fact is, for me, that 1 month's break has given him mental peace. Be it his wife, as Vijay said, be it the near and dear ones, but it calmed him down. Believe you me, I don't know whether Vijay agrees with me or not, that sacking of his as a captain, because in his mind, he has as a roadmap, I'll resign as a 2020 skipper and I'll captain in one day and test. But the board thought otherwise, for whatever reason. I would not get into it. But that hurt him. He never believed he can be sacked. And that hurt him. And it hurt him for at least 5 to 6 months. And by the time the hurt went, his form had gone. So it took him time to come back. And then the IPL happened where he failed miserably. My heart went out to him after he got out of the second ball in IPL. And he's shaking his head, walking up a Wankhede Stadium, and then he didn't know what hit him. He was really going through a rough time. But believe you me, that 1 month's break did him good. And if you remember last time, whether he got 17 or 27 against South Africa, I said he seems to be getting back. His feet are moving. He got out on a hook shot, but he played very, very well. And now King Kohli is back. And we were worried about this team India.
Yeah.
But since Kohli is in form, because he has reinvented himself. You know, when he was out of form, he was looking for big shots early on. That is not Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli is the one who rotates the strike, turns ones into twos, twos into threes, and goes big in the last 5-7 overs once he's set. So that is exactly what he's saying. And this is what he's saying in his statement. I've understood my game now. It happens. When your form goes back, you don't know where the next ball is. Every ball looks to be a missile coming your way, is going to get you out. And it happens to best of people. It happens to best of the people.
Yeah.
The great news for Team India, Virat is back. You know, you know, it is like he must be saying, I'm back.
Yeah.
And he is back, and how? And
Yeah.
definitely India has a very, very good chance, because to beat this World Cup, India has now Virat in the middle order and Shami adding muscle to our bowling. So that gives us a very, very good bowling tag, which is we have now all the jigsaw puzzle in the right place.
Which is at the perfect time for us to wrap this up. Thank you so much, gentlemen. And we almost forgot that it is previewing Australia and England. We've gone to Virat Kohli, but this is what happens when we all get talking. But thank you so much, Ashok sir, for joining us here. Always a pleasure to have you. And Vijay Lokpally, thank you so much for taking the time out. So much fun to have you here. Hope we can do this more often.
Thank you.
That's it then on this special toss delayed. Well, showers are at the moment, there is no rain in Melbourne. Hopefully it stays that way and we get a game of cricket. News 9 Sports is what you need to subscribe to. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.